But there are two key verses in the Bible on creation. Genesis 1:1, obviously, and John 1:1, right? They both speak of God creating the universe. If you're in science, in mathematics, whatever, there are two constants of the universe that have no dimensions. You see, a constant that has dimensions, like speed of light, can change, presumably. But a constant that has no dimensions can't change. Pi is not going to change because it is an intrinsic relationship to the geometry of a circle. You follow me? Well, there are two of these things. Pi, of course, is one of them. We just talked a little bit about that. There's another one you probably have not run into unless you've been in calculus or advanced math or advanced engineering. There's a thing called a natural logarithm. There are logarithms, but there's one particular one that's log to the base e that shows up everywhere in advanced mathematics. It's as familiar to a mathematician as pi is to a schoolboy. Okay? Well, let's take a look at Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. If you take the Hebrew of that out of Genesis 1:1, and you're going to do a strange thing I'm going to suggest. You're going to take the number of letters times the product of those letters, and you're going to divide it by the number of the words times the product of the words, recognizing that those alphabets have value. You can go through that arithmetic. If you do, it turns out you end up with pi to 4 decimal places. Now, if someone handed me a paper, this was when I was in mid-country in England, and I first sort of dismissed it, one of these, fringe kind of things. I looked at it, fine, was polite. And on the plane back, though, I thought, I got to check this out. And I did. I built a little computer program in Excel to check the letters and stuff. Anyway, turns out it's true. That blew me away. I don't know what to do with that. It's just it's too precise to ignore. But I'm not through. That's pi, of course. I don't know what to do with the 17 zeros, but let me go on here. John Napier was a mathematician in the end of the 16th century. He happened to be an activist for the Reformation and Protestant affairs in Scotland, but that's not what we have him here. He is the inventor or discoverer of logarithms. The natural or Napierian logarithm is named after him, log to the base e. He also was the first to use decimal point in fractions. In wave mechanics, you find e. In electrical theory, in advanced math, in distribution of prime numbers, it's defined by a limit. These are totally diverse applications. Everywhere you turn out, there's E, and E is turned out is 2.71828. Now, how they get it's not important. It's like pi. It's one of these weird numbers, but it's somehow intrinsic to our physical universe. Okay, so what? The other verse that's basic to creation is the New Testament verse. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. John 1:1. If you take that in the Greek and do the same thing I suggested before, take the number of letters times the product of letters and divide that by the number of words times the product of the words, you get E to 4 decimal places. But anyone that has a feeling for mathematics, it's stunning because you've got the fingerprint of the Creator here in the text. And the rabbis have a strange belief. Some of the rabbis have a view that not only did God create the universe, but the Torah was the template by which he did it. And when I first heard that, I thought it's a typical Jewish exaggeration. But after seeing this, I'm beginning to suspect they may be more correct than I had any idea.